Hey there, welcome to the channel or welcome back. My name is Angela and this is my weekly garden vlog where I show you guys everything that's going on here in my Zone 6 garden for the past week. Today is Tuesday, July 2nd, and as the week goes on I'll keep adding to this little garden diary, compile it all at the end and share it with you guys. If you're ready, let's go. I am still trying to get the whole space of the veggie garden mulched over. So I stopped by Home Depot today, picked up 6 more bags of mulch, and it seems like that's kind of how it is most years when I do decide to mulch. It's not an all-at-once job just because it would take so much mulch, so I just do it in pieces throughout the season. So my task today is to get all these unloaded from the car and brought over to the garden area. I have to run over to our shed to get my cart out because those are too heavy and it's too long of a trek to carry them by hand. We keep our cart right over here in the shed. So I'm going to grab that, bring it back over to the car, load up, and get those bags hauled over here. And I do, as I've mentioned before many times, I do an underlayment of cardboard under my mulch. And you can see where I've got a lot of areas cardboarded already. That's because I had the cardboard on hand, but I did not have the mulch. So I'm going to fix that to some extent today. So it is still Tuesday and I'm back out here. I got all my mulch unloaded. It was getting a little hot and I was feeling a little overheated, so I pretty much spent most of the rest of the day indoors, and I'm back out in the garden and I wanted to show you something that's very pretty. I'm going to turn you around in the other direction. I noticed earlier, but I didn't get a chance to show it, my Nicotiana is blooming. It's so pretty. This is the first year, I think it's the first year I've grown the purple ones. I've grown the jasmine ones for several years now. Yeah, this one's just called purple, I think. And it's so pretty. And I'm noticing, at least so far, that these are not getting as tall as the jasmine or that have the white flowers. I don't know, maybe it'll keep growing and get tall, but so far it's just kind of low-lying, but it's very pretty. I was worried it might not be getting enough sun there, but I guess it is. Very nice. And at least to my sense of smell, these do not have that same wonderful aroma scent that the white jasmine scented ones do. I couldn't smell anything actually, and I don't have a great sense of smell. I haven't since my 20s, but the jasmine scented ones are so strongly scented that they just kind of overpower and they smell so lovely. So I'm guessing that maybe this variety doesn't have a scent, at least it didn't to me. So that might be about it for today. I'll be back on with more segments throughout the week and the weekend before you guys see this on Monday. And right now I'm just hanging out on my shed porch. It's one of my favorite places on our property to just kind of chill. I've got these comfy chairs here and I can look out and see my garden and enjoy it and listen to the birds. I hope that you guys have a spot like this at your place. It's definitely worth investing in some nice comfy seating within your garden space. That way you can enjoy all your hard work and just listen to the sounds of nature. It's so lovely. And one other thing before I sign off for now, I love hearing the sound of cicadas in the summer. Summer's my favorite season pretty much, and then spring and fall are kind of tied, and winter I could definitely do without. But one of the things that I love about summer is just sitting out in my comfy chair and listening to the cicadas. My husband thinks I'm nuts, but I love the sound. To me, it is the sound of summer. Do you guys enjoy the sound of cicadas? Let me know in the comments. I hope I'm not the only one. All right, till the next segment. So here's the main bed that I need to get weeded right there. This is sort of an unusual little bed kind of in the center of what we call our front yard. And my goal is to expand this and just kind of make it like a long and windy bed all through the property there, and with just shrubs, perennials, focusing on native plants. But it's been in serious need of weeding essentially since last year, and it's got even worse and worse this year, and it's hard to even tell that there are some intentional plants in here. We got a lot of rain last night, finally, yay. And it's nice and cool this morning. Soil's moist, perfect time to get this weeded. So that's what today's task will be. It's starting to rain again, so I'll show you what I got done, and I'll be out here throughout the next few days while this ground is soft. So it's still a little bit raggedy looking, but I did got a lot of the weeds out. And what I think I need to do is to just edge the whole thing and give it some clear borders. Get back in there with the rest of the weeds. Just, general tidying up. And maybe some fresh mulch. And I also started on this little area under our black walnut tree, which gets overrun, and this is where my beloved yucca is that has nothing really left but the seed pods. And I might even see about starting one from seed. I'll have to look that up and see if that's how you do it. And while the seed pods are still on there, might as well give it a try. So I feel like I got some things done, and I'm gonna head back in because I think it's pretty much gonna be raining for most of the day. Today is July 4th, Independence Day here in the US. We do not have any specific plans. Just gonna take it easy, and I might be out here off and on in between, when there's lulls in the rain, if we get more lulls. I'm just so happy to have the rain. If I don't see you again today, I will catch up with you in the next segment. And before I call it quits for today, I wanted to get out here to the greenhouse and get my watermelon seedlings out so they can get some of this good rain. I'm going to give you guys a little peek of the rain here. I'm just rejoicing because we're getting rain. It's a pretty steady drizzle, and we got a bunch last night from what I can tell. And I had previously had my watermelon seedlings in pots here in the greenhouse just to give them the best chance at protection and get a good start. But I ended up moving them right outside, and they may go back in the greenhouse when this rain is over. We'll have to see. I feel like they're still too small, just given the pest pressures that I've had this year. But oh gosh, everybody is loving this rain, especially probably my trees that I've planted this year. And that might be it for today. It just depends on the weather. I feel like I want to put a chair out here in my greenhouse and just enjoy this rain. I might do that. And before I head back in, as I stand here enjoying the rain and looking at my garden, it occurred to me that this spring we probably had at least what seemed like record amounts of rain. It rained for days and seems like weeks on end. And that wasn't good then because I couldn't get anything started, couldn't get anything outside, couldn't get the seeds in. It was just, it was too much rain. And now that we've had weeks of drought, it just seems a little ironic. And you hate to complain about one or the other, because there have been times this past few weeks where I've prayed for all the rain we had in the spring. It's just that it came at the wrong time. Like, all that rain would be much better after things have already sprouted and they're trying to grow. We can't choose, but it just struck me as like, I was complaining about no rain for weeks when we had all that rain in the spring. It just wasn't at a good time. We can't control that. We just make the best of it. And before I sign off for today's segment, just give you a little look around at the garden. And I have removed those little plastic cloches from their seedlings just so the seedlings can get all this rain. Actually, I forgot to put them on last night. It was okay. Nothing bad happened. Hey there, welcome back to another segment for this week's garden vlog. And today is Sunday, July 7th, I think, something like that. And I haven't done a whole lot else since we last talked, but I'll show you kind of how things are standing. Actually, I did do one kind of big thing. I'll show you that. Let's go. So before we head over to the big garden and I show you the cool thing that I got done, take you over here to this little retaining wall bed that I'm trying to do mostly native plants in. And my black-eyed Susans are starting to bloom. They're so pretty. I can't wait till this plant just really lets loose. And my pumpkin seedlings are doing pretty good. I got a late start. This one's called Fairy Tale Pumpkin. I'm hoping that there will be enough time in the growing season to see some pumpkins. Here is a new coneflower plant that I put in. And my other pumpkin seedlings, there's two of them here. This one's called, these are jackstraw. Hope those are showing up for you. And one day soon I'll kind of do like a little mini tour of this whole bed here and talk about each one of the plants that I have there. I still have my serviceberry tree, which is in a pot right now, and I was thinking that this was going to be a shrub, on the smaller side, but after doing a little bit of research, turns out it's going to be like at least a 15-foot tree if the sources were right. So I am rethinking where I'm going to put that. I definitely won't put it in that little retaining wall bed. It's going to be too big for that. I'm going to pause for a minute so you guys can hear the cicadas. Can you hear that? Oh, I love the cicadas. To me, that is the sound of summer. Love it so much. So walking over here to the veggie garden area, the one thing that I got done with a lot of help from my husband was I finally got this 12-foot bed set in. You guys have been hanging out with me for a while, know that this was a project I kept procrastinating on. Finally, I'm getting somewhere with it. So it's set in. And then the one behind it, we did not set in yet. We were doing this in the blazing hot sun yesterday, so we were pretty much done by the time we were done with that. So the next one is this one to go in. And the way the ground sits, that second one and towards the back will sit up a little bit higher, which is perfectly fine to give it more of a tiered effect, and we won't be that much higher. But one thing that I wanted to show you that we have to do anytime we're doing these beds and the ground is not leveled off, we have a whole bunch of bricks here that were here at the house when we bought the house. So I just lined along the whole edge there and kind of around the sides a little bit, anywhere where the bottom of the bed did not meet the ground. And it's just kind of the way that we had to do it without being able to level off the whole space. We just work with what we have, and we have so many of those. It was a whole, at least one pallet worth of bricks that were left here at the house when we bought the house, even though the house was already 15 years old, and we don't really have any plans to use those bricks for any construction purposes, so we just use them here and there as when we need bricks. So here's it from the other side. And I kind of doubt if we're going to have to do that same thing with the bricks on this one, because the ground is more leveled off right here. From here to about there, as it meets the little walking path there, it really kind of slopes down. So we didn't want to do a whole bunch of digging out on the higher side. So we just left that side up off the ground a little bit. So the bed itself is level. I hope this is all making sense. Yeah, so once, and I've already kind of started backfilling this in with soil. I don't know if I'll be planting in it this summer. Maybe I could do some fall things in there. And then once this bed is in, that'll leave me with a big open space right here that I do not intend to plant anything in, just because it doesn't get much sun. It's getting a lot of sun right now, as you guys probably noticed, but this whole strip here only gets a couple hours of sun per day, maybe 3 at the most. So things just generally, like veggie things, don't generally do well here. And I thought what I might try to do, depending on how much space I have here, is put some patio pavers down and somehow put a pergola or some sort of a shade covering or shade situation and put a couple of chairs here. So that's just one thought I had with that. We'll just have to play it by ear. That definitely will not get done this year. And so that was my big accomplishment this week. I've harvested some potatoes. It's really, other than a couple of peppers, the only thing in my veggie garden that's been harvestable yet. Things are just, they're not really doing so well this year. We'll just keep nursing it along and see how it goes. Do the best that we can. I want to show you my flower. This is my little flower garden here. I've shown you before on the channel, but now these zinnias are going crazy and they're so pretty. So I'm really loving this little section here. Is like the best thing I got going. I don't even really have too many tomatoes on yet, and that could be attributed to the severe heat wave that we have. I know that once temperatures get so high, it kind of stops flower production. At least that's what I've always heard. But I do have flowers on, and I've got a few tomatoes on. This one is a New Yorker. It's been like that for a while though, so I don't know if it's ever going to ripen. Oh, well, here we go. This is new to me since I've been out here. This one is called Chef's Choice. New to me, the first year I've grown those, so that's really cool. And then I've still got my sunrise bumblebees that I've had some little tomatoes on for a while now, but they're getting bigger. This group here was the first ones to fruit, and they are growing, so they're getting bigger in size, so that's good. And that's really the only, tomato action that I am seeing so far. We'll just keep plugging away. I've kept my little watermelon seedlings out of the greenhouse for a few days now. The other day when we got some rain and it was starting to drizzle and I knew we were expecting rain for a while, I pulled them all out of the greenhouse so they could get that rain too. And they're starting to get their first true leaves there. And the goal is to, once they're a little bit bigger, to get them planted out into a better spot, and that'll probably likely mean these pots here for one thing, just because nothing's really done well here, even though I've seeded and reseeded. So I don't know if that means the soil's not good or if the timing just wasn't right. Yeah. Some years just aren't as productive as others in the garden, and it's a hard pill for us gardeners to swallow. But this one is a rosella, and it's got some flowers on it, so fruit to follow soon. supposedly. This one is a sun gold, and I should start seeing tomatoes soon on that one. Those are probably in my top 3 of favorite tomatoes, just because the flavor is so good. And that's probably all I have to share with you guys this week out here in the garden. Let me know what you're working on in your garden. What is your best performing vegetable plant this year? I'd love to know. Share that in the comments, please. And I thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you next week.